do not rub your eyes. He's back.
It is great to be back. Good morning, Nudelberg Daily Huddle. I missed you guys. I missed the morning routine. I missed the show and the engagement and the community. But I'm glad to be back.
It is great to have you back. We have a little welcome back music for you.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Back here where we need you. Back here where we need you. Yeah, we tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Cotter. Thank you.
You'll sing that song all day for sure. But
1,000%.
So we were able to maintain a high level of performance while you were gone. Your brother, shout out to Jake. He did great. He was an excellent foil.
That he is. He does a great job of standing in. And I know I got to watch a little bit of the shows here and there. I got to catch them on the replays when I could. But it was great. I'm glad.
So I got a couple of shout outs. Yesterday, it was the first time that I conducted the seminar. Closet Factory does a monthly seminar. I attended it last month just to view it. And I remember telling everybody how impressed I was with how they ran it and what they did. But yesterday was my turn and lit the building up, as you might expect, man. I was super fired up, super happy. It was.
Yeah, I know that when you had gone there, you were like, that was a really good meeting to begin with. So I'm sure that you had a standard in your mind that you had to excel past. And I'm sure you did.
Well, when leaders lay out the roadmap and they say, hey, we're getting together once a month and the reason is to get better. I was like, okay, and here's what success looks like. And here's the tote board and here's the tools. And I'm bringing in this guy to help you. And, all of the right stuff. No surprise, they're super successful. And it's fun because we talked a lot about growth. And growth is not a straight line. Growth is not easy. We're going to talk today specifically about Andrew Koenig and the monster growth that they experienced. It's a shitstorm along the way, man. It's just the reality. Managing that is done by process and stuff like that. So lots of really good stuff. I spent the afternoon with Sherry and Mark Cedar. So my day was just filled with great people and great fun. I'm loving working with them. And wouldn't you know, the same question comes up in almost every one of my engagements. How do I hire a Shay?
Yeah.
And so I'm shouting it out to the huddle and to the masses that they are looking for somebody to help make it happen in their ever-growing business. So reach out to me or reach out directly to Sherry and discuss. They do have a role. It's a great one. They're super cool people. So
if I could clone myself, I would. But
listen, that would be a business. Almost every client we have. Let's get to some wake up music. We got a fun show ahead. Welcome back, but let's wake up.
Help, yeah. Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. What you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more back to thinking. Time for thinking ahead. Come on now.
Good to see
you. Something interesting there, right? Because you're like, that would be a business if we could clone Shay. Well, people have tried to do that with these virtual assistants, right? Like I get hammered on LinkedIn. Hey, let me get you 25 virtual assistants. The difference between virtual assistants and Shay is in the business. It works because he's in it, because he's a human that's in the foxhole with you and working with you, That's why it works. That's another, example of why automation or the virtual piece doesn't work.
Very well said. I mean, Laura Sherwin, who knows firsthand from working with us that Shay is the man, but Shay didn't start out as the man. Shay listened, learned, got yelled at a ton.
Still does. Still does.
But he worked, to your point, he's a partner in the firm. He shares in our success. And so when he steps in the foxhole with us, I know he's taking the bullet and vice versa. And excuse that pun with all of the craziness that's going on. Let's switch gears and go back to you. So you go away. You have the unique experience of having like 17 families.
Yeah.
Which way you turn, you can spend time with family. But when I married your mother, one of the gifts was that we got to go to the mountains. When I divorced your mother, one of the things I lost was going to
was that trip to the mountains. But everybody asks about how you are, and they love to see you doing well. But yeah, so to me, mountain time is what we call the house, and people refer to that as like time stops in the mountains. But even Bill Gates talks about downtime. Bill Gates talks about turn everything off. Bill Gates talks about be in a place where there's no distractions and you can really be at one with your thoughts and use that as a time to really propel yourself to go forward. That's one thing that's great about the mountains is like, I don't even know where this is half the time that I'm there. I keep it around me for pictures so that I can get all the kinds of pictures, but it's great time to step away, be out in the woods. There's no traffic. There's no nothing. It's just beautiful sunsets and lots of whiskey and lots of wine and music and storytelling and games with kids. And for me, I've been going almost my whole life, pretty much my whole life. And to watch now me to have two boys doing it and have my cousins bringing their kids and watching them recreate the moments, and then having James with a 3-month-old at the same time as me and to watch our kids do what we did. It's great to see the tradition get carried on. And I think that's important. I think family traditions are something that should not go away. I think, you should, as you get older, you should take responsibility for the traditions that were passed down. I was fortunate to go visit my grandfather's grave. And that was part of the thing that I said to him was like, you're not here to share in this now, but look at what you started. Like, look, and now I look at it as my responsibility to continue to carry that on for them. So it was really fantastic, a great time. And one other takeaway I would share is storytelling. I think we live in a world where it's really easy to capture your story right now. We talk about document, don't create, document what's happening to you daily. When you do that, you keep a timeline, a legitimate timeline. If you're doing it on social media, it's actually your timeline of your story and what you're doing and what's happening to you. The saddest part about that side of the family is that there are unbelievable stories that can't be told the same way because they just didn't get passed down. So finding a way to document your story and make sure that you tell your story so that it gets passed on, I think is important.
I think that's incredibly well said. I mean, the riches of tradition, live in those stories and the little nuances. I am making a public petition to get my seat back in the mountains next summer. So it is, if they will have me, I will come because it looks like a hell of a lot of fun. And, and since you were the one that brought all of the pieces together, maybe we get Gabby's family up there. And,
that's the idea. That's the idea. And Grandma Greta turns 90 next year. So it's going to be a blowout in the mountains next year.
So, yeah, so that I'm putting in my request now.
I like it.
Go to the Tribal Warriors and see if I'm welcome, and I will definitely make that trip. And we'll do the huddle from the mountain.
I like it. No, that's against mountain rules.
I know. So, anyway, I'm really glad. I'm really glad that you're having these experiences. It is for me. It's great that you turned what was a negative event for a lot of people into really positive. All the family stuff that we're doing now, whether it's together or we get to share it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So kudos to you. Congratulations. Along the lines of storytelling, I'll switch gears here. Shay, do you have the picture of Julia Aquino?
I didn't, but I can get it. Hold on a second.
It was in there. I'm not sure if you. Okay. So this is another part of storytelling. You know, sometimes all the time there's more to the story than what social media is telling you.
Sure.
And so there's people that were important in your life that are watching but don't really know what's going on. And, you know, everybody puts their best face out there, and that's fine. So Julia Aquino was a very important person in my life and my career. It was the first time in my company years ago where I said, the operational side of the company is not my bag. She was an ace at it. I hired her, paid her to come in and give me sort of, you know, what this thing should look like. She interviewed people. There she is. So reached out. She was so excited. We went and had lunch. And man, the stories were flying back and forth. What she did, what I did. Such an underbelly of warmth and great. I texted her last night and I said, you know, it's just so great to catch up with you. She asked about you. I asked about her son. Her son is now going to Clemson and is a full South Carolina guy, man.
Oh yeah.
You know, so but you can't make friends like that today. Those seeds were sown a long time ago. Do not forget them. There was no agenda other than sharing, talking. I bought her a book. I bought her Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
So these days, she was telling me, actually, she mentioned Will Smith's book, which was great.
Interesting.
I said the same exact words. But anyway, just to tie it up with, you know, with this idea of storytelling, you got to tell the story direct to some of your friends. And that's still some of the most rich things in life.
Make time for that, right? Make time for that.
Make time for it. It was great. I spoke. I did a call at the hotel and then zipped down to have lunch with her before I started my afternoon call. So I made the time. It was well worth it. Shout out to her. So we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about Andrew Koenig, some really exciting things happening at Citi. This was news that came out last week, but I waited for you because I want you to shine in. But you will get it from this motivational music.
My heart's on fire. You come to me wild and wild. You come to me, give me everything I need. Give me a lifetime of promises and a world of dreams. The language of love like you know what it means. And it can't be wrong. Take my heart and make it strong. You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone. Anyone I ever met. I'm stuck on your heart.
Woo!
Simply the best.
Simply the best. And he is simply the best. He's a tremendous hearted human being. So what's the news? What's all the fuss about? Shay, show me the stats. LinkedIn did a study of the top companies in retail. Look at the logo company this dude is in at number 9.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. We get the pleasure of working with him and his team. It's been nothing short of outstanding for us, challenging and great and warm. But it all starts with the people. Some of the things that came out of, you know, the conversation there. They have many locations. I think there's like 24 locations.
26.
26. One of the things that LinkedIn reported that I got most notable skills for the company, customer satisfaction, sales management, strategic planning.
Yeah.
Wow. And it all starts way back when Andrew Koenig, who we can show a picture of him. I was not going to show that picture, but that's okay. Show the picture of the other picture. There we go. So it all starts with Andrew, and this was a recent article written about him. And he takes a trip to Japan, studies. Most people don't know he was basically a golf pro. He studies, graduates, understands the Toyota philosophy, and says to his dad, "Hey, is there any way to get me a tour of Toyota?" Keith Koenig, his dad, friendly with Jim Moran. Next thing you know, he goes there, and you can speak very, very clearly on this. I want you to speak on his lean philosophy, Kaizen.
I think going all the way back to our first dinner together at Runway, he told us the story, right? And I think he was vetting, looking at, services to come in and help operationalize the sales side of the business a little bit, help grow the sales side of the business a little bit, and move it forward in a philosophy and tactically. And he told us, he was like, look, this is how I got here. This is my philosophy. And he talked about going to Japan and watching him do that with the operations side of the business, because they've been working with the lean management side of the business for 10 years on the operations side. But when he became CEO and it was starting to happen where he was going to become CEO, he wanted to bring that philosophy to the sales side of the business, which I think is really important, because I think when you look at the Kaizen or when you look at the lean philosophy mentality and the Kaizen are just problem-solving meetings. They're just, you bring in everybody from every layer, you bring different perspectives, and that to me is something that resonates with me, because that's the way we solve problems in football. It wasn't, hey, we're sitting in a room with only ourselves trying to solve the problem. It's like, okay, you know what? Let's bring in the D coordinator, or let's bring in the defensive backs coach, or let's bring in some other players into this room to say, hey, watch this. What do you think? How do you think we should solve this? Have you ever dealt with anything like this before? And to get different perspectives is always how you come up with the best solution. And so they live that as an organization, whether it be in sales, whether it be in delivery, whether it be in operations, whether it be in tech. They're constantly living that lean philosophy of understanding that you got to get to where the problems are. They call it get to the Gemba, which means you got to see what's happening. You can't just be up in the ivory tower hoping that things go well. You got to be down there, not necessarily doing, but seeing, so that you can have the perspective and be able to offer the guidance and offer the help in the problem-solving aspects of it.
I mean, so, when I heard him tell that story, it related back to when I did business with Southeast Toyota. I was working with them and Dan Marino and them and Coach Wanstadt. And the guy I was working with, we had a great long-standing relationship. And one December, he calls me and he goes, I got good news, I got bad news.
Right.
He goes, I got promoted. Wow, that's awesome. He goes, I got promoted out of this and rotated into another head of franchising, call it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you know about franchising? He goes, nothing. He goes, that's the point, is that they're throwing me in there. The guy who was handling finances came in, took that seat because they believed that they would bring different eyes to it, different skill sets, different. And then in order to ultimately run the whole show, you had to be well-rounded in all of it. You couldn't just take the seat and go, well, I have no idea what's going on in sales. I'm not good in sales or whatever. You got to know.
Right.
No. So this Kaizen mentality, which if you Google Kaizen and you really get into it, it's just continuous improvement. It's just, we are committed to getting better always. You've heard this before, good is the enemy of great.
Yep.
Kaizen does away with that. There is no good. There is continuous improvement. And I loved it. And I love that he lived it. He lives it in everything he does.
everything. I mean, you know, that's the benefits of working with him, is being able to spend time with him, whether it be in a store, in a bus traveling, or out to dinner together, and listening to him not only talk about how to deal with major challenges in the business, but while dealing with those major challenges, not lose sight of where he wants the business to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and managing all of that at the same time. That's the continuous improvement.
So Greg Goldstein, Double G, there he is. You're so right, because his story is in it. Holiday weekend, he's in the stores. Now, he manages time with his family and time in the stores better than most. And I think that's the real sign of a quality leader. He does not take away from either. He manages them both equally, and they know that. I mean, the fact that he works out every day at 1 o'clock, you know, which we have had the pleasure of working out with him.
Yep.
The commitment to getting what he needs to get done, and then putting the pieces of the puzzle around him to do that. So, you know, when you see somebody, a quality human being like this, who is doing great things for the business, here's the X factor. He does equally as much for the community. He has committed his time, his energy. I'm excited, and I'm going to give you this final story, or whatever else you want to say. I got asked to join the executive board of Junior Achievement. So I've been on the board for a while, and the board is cool. You sort of have a seat, and you kind of do what you do. The executive board, there's only 5 of us, man. You know, you can't hide there. He's the incoming chair. I'm on his board. And it was cool. I just knew it. It was really fun. And I love the opportunity to work with him. The other day, out of the blue, I see Andrew Koenig light up, you know, on my phone. Hey, what's going on? Da, 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 da. He goes, I did not take the time out of the day to thank you for being on my board. I'm so excited about working with you. I just wanted you to know how I was thinking. You be cool, you be great. Look forward to our dinner, which Shay, you can show that picture now, which he commits to us once a quarter to go to dinner and to eat and drink. And those are educational. Those are fun. Those are great. But, you know, when he called me, I hung up the phone and I said, there's got to be 9 million things on this guy's plate.
Yeah.
He did not have to do that.
Yeah.
I would have been fine without it. But the fact that he did it changes my perspective. And it's a lesson to me. There's always time to do the right thing. So
yep. I think that's really well said. There's always time to do the right thing, and prioritizing what those right things are. That to me is like, if you're saying there's not enough time to make that phone call, there's got to be 25 other things on your list that you're working on that aren't as valuable as that phone call. So like understanding how to prioritize that and really knowing where the value is. There's no doubt he understands that the value is in the people. It's why he's created the culture around City the way that he has. It's our, you know, pleasure to be able to work with them and help him grow it. And it's just great.
Yeah. So tribute to him. If you're thinking about buying furniture, buy it from somebody who cares.
Yep.
And they care.
Buy it from somebody local.
Buy it from somebody local. Buy it somebody who cares. I did. You did. Howie Craw did. You know, Helen has an account there. Does a lot of her business there. So what a great way to welcome you back. Talking about goodness, continuous effort. You, my boy, got to get your ass in gear because we're in July. Let's go.
Let's go. Get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you